where do I start with my journey? I've always been psychic ever since I was a little girl. I used to hear voices and see things and be very aware that there was something else there with me. I think back in those days it was a very low vibration, so it was kind of spirit more than anything else, and it freaked me out so much that I couldn't really do anything about it. I couldn't learn, I didn't understand. I talked to my family. I had a sister and my mum, and basically we lived in the south of England, and we had all a lot of experiences going on, and we really didn't know what was going on. Literally, it was so weird. I remember when I was a little girl, I was sitting in a chair and I had this kind of like yellow tape recorder, and all of a sudden it just shot up into the air, and I just didn't know what was going on. I just didn't understand. It's an old memory that I have, and I've always remembered that memory. I just could never understand. I even talked to my sister about it, and I said, do you remember that happening? And she was like, yeah, definitely. So that was my first ever experience that I remember. Going through time, probably growing up in my teenage years, we moved to Suffolk, and basically we lived in this house, a detached house, and a lot of stuff started happening that we couldn't really explain what was going on. I think the first thing we would feel is this presence in the hallway, and it was such a strong presence. It was kind of like, it felt like someone was right in your face, you know, just so strong presence. And it really freaked me out. It freaked me out a lot. And I had a boyfriend at the time, and he could feel it as well, and we were just kind of questioning everything, like, what is this? My mum would have a shower and basically think my dad was home because someone was talking to her in the hallway, and my dad wasn't home from work. So it was always like that. It was always like, what's going on, what's going on? We'd be in the kitchen, there'd be whistling, we'd hear voices. We had like one of those old banisters, like metal banisters, and it was like children running up and down the stairs with wooden sticks, like you know, it's really quite mad, really, what was going on. We were in the kitchen, we'd hear whistling, lots of voices and stuff like that, and I was so freaked out. Because I didn't understand, I didn't have anyone I could talk to who'd understand. You know, it's just, you had all these crazy feelings and just went with it. And just tried to block it out, to be honest, because I was absolutely terrified, to be honest. And I remember being in the kitchen once when my boyfriend was up in the shower, and I was making breakfast or something like that, and I saw this figure walking from the front door into the living room, and yeah, that was proper freaky, definitely. I saw this black shadow walk in, and I told my mum about it, and I said to her, do you see this black figure ever like go into the living room? And she says, yeah, it follows me around and sits at the edge of my bed. I was like, okay, great. What is all this about? And one day my sister got a telephone call, basically from a psychic who said that the spirit gave her our telephone number to call to tell us that we should go and research and learn about this gift that we have, because they're trying to make us aware of the gift that we have, but no one's ever doing anything about it. So I was proper freaked. I was so freaked out. I was like, I don't want this. I really don't want this. It's scary. You know, because all I ever heard about was like horror films, and you know, just that it's a really bad thing and it's a scary thing, and like ghosts and ghouls and skeletons and that kind of stuff, and it's a really scary thing. So I don't want to be a part of that, thank you very much. And I kind of blocked it out for a while, but I would get some times where I'd be somewhere and I'd feel someone tugging my arm or something like that, and yeah, just, you know, it was just absolutely scary for me. So I just took fear and didn't understand. I remember saying to my friend, basically trying to explain the feeling that I felt when there was a presence around, and I said to her, do you ever feel like you get goosebumps and like your hairs on your arms stand up and that kind of thing. And she's like, no. And I said, I thought everyone felt like that. But she was like, no, not at all. And I couldn't believe it. I was like, wow. So not everyone's like this then. Not everyone feels like this. And when I was about 16, she gave me my first tarot cards. So I started reading my tarot, but I really didn't get into it too much because I kind of heard bad things about it and that kind of stuff. So I never really looked into it at all. So yeah, so basically I just blocked it out all my life. We actually moved to Rendlesham in Suffolk, and my parents got a house there, but it wasn't like they were just moving down the road, you know. It's not somewhere they thought, oh, let's live in Rendlesham. We know a lot about Rendlesham, it's quite famous, isn't it? It was more like, oh, the house is cheap, so it's just live there, you know what I mean? So yeah, so we moved to Rendlesham, right opposite the Bentwaters Park base, and my mum and dad said they saw a lot of lights in the garden areas, like dancing lights and that kind of thing. And I never really experienced anything, but there was this time that I was proper freaked out. I'm quite a scaredy cat, aren't I? What happened was so I just broke up with a boyfriend who I was with for 7 years, quite a traumatic time for me. And I remember being in bed, and then the bed started vibrating, like shaking, and I really didn't know what was going on. All I knew that I was just really, really, really scared. And I felt like these figures around the bed just staring at me, like proper in my face, staring down at me, and I was so scared. I was like having like a duvet over my head and things like that. I was absolutely terrified. And I was just like, I don't want this, I'm too scared, you know. And I just blocked it out as much as I could and continued on with my life, really. And then I moved in with a friend, and I started telling her about my experiences, and she was very open. She was quite a spiritual person, and she used to watch like stuff like Most Haunted and stuff, and she's like, I'm so jealous that you've got these gifts, you know. And she says, I've got a friend who's a psychic, you should go and talk to her. And I was like, okay, I kind of want to understand what's going on. So yeah, absolutely, good idea. So I went to see this lady, and I remember the first thing that she ever said to me was, you know, when you look out of the window and you see the world, it hasn't been like that for a very long time. And I thought, what is going on here? What is going on? So I sat down, I chatted to her, I talked to her about everything, and it gave me a bit more confidence. She kind of told me what the role is like of being like a psychic or a medium. And she says, don't be scared, it's nothing to be scared about. You have this gift, so be ready to use it. So I was like, okay, I'm going to look into it a little bit more. So I took the day off work and I sat down on my bed. And I thought, right, I got a pendulum, and I started using the pendulum. And I was just asking questions, like trying to find out who my spirit guide was. And I said, is there any other way that I can communicate with you? And my spirit guide said, yes, automatic writing. So I was like, okay, I feel comfortable with writing, that's absolutely fine. So basically I sat there with my pen and my pad, and it moved. Words happened, appeared on the page, and I found out about my spirit guide. It was someone I knew in a past life. That was quite interesting. I found out all about who he was and what our life was like back then in this other life and that kind of thing. And I just grew this really lovely connection with him. Or say him, that's a male energy. I just kind of felt like an old friend I'd known for such a long time, so I wasn't scared, you know. I was just chatting to an old friend, so it really didn't bother me, you know. I was asking all the questions I needed to know, and it was silly questions as well, because my friend, you know, we're only young, we're asking about like silly little questions, you know, and yeah, it got answers all the time. It was just really easy. I remember basically I went into my bedroom once and I saw all these lights dancing, like rainbow lights coming from the window, and it was so beautiful. And I called my friend and says, oh my gosh, you gotta look at this, you know, I've never seen anything like it. Just this manifestation of lights, like rainbow lights. And I thought, how absolutely amazing is that? And she witnessed it. I said, can you see that? And she's like, yeah. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. So after seeing lights and stuff, it kind of worked out that through my energy, she could start using like a pendulum and stuff like that. And that was cool. I didn't mind, you know, as long as she had my permission, obviously. And basically, you know, it just got something that I just felt comfortable with. And I just went with it. And I started doing readings for people. So I'd use my tarot cards, and it's basically in the time where you could do readings on eBay, basically. And I started doing readings for people, which was really interesting and always right and that kind of thing. And I just felt like I just needed to help people because this is my role, to help people, you know. And so yeah, it was really interesting, that time of my life, just growing the confidence. And then it's just basically hanging around with people making fun of you, you know, oh, you see ghosts and stuff like that, you know, and not understanding and taking the mick. And yeah, it wasn't a fun time. And just being so busy in life, really, that I couldn't really concentrate and still didn't really understand what's going on, to be honest, you know. So I always felt out of place, never felt like I belonged, always felt like I had to prove myself to other people. I had to look a certain way and dress a certain way and be a certain person to be acknowledged and liked and that kind of thing. And so basically I went through a long time of just enjoying life in a way, as much as I could, living in this world, you know, and to the point that it just wasn't serving me anymore. Why do I have to change myself? Why do I have to have friends that don't treat me right? Or, you know, why do I have to be someone else to fit in, you know? And I was a writer, and I was always scared to tell people that I was a writer because it wasn't cool, you know, it wasn't the cool thing to be a writer. And I was thinking, why am I hiding this all about myself? I could never be my true self. So yeah, it was very weird time. Just learning who you are and just going through this crazy time, definitely. So that's what I did.